What is a bagatelle? If one takes the name literally, it could mean a bag of tells. Although this name may sound silly, it does point us in the right direction. Beethoven called these pieces Kleinigkeiten, which translates to trifles or odds and ends. These bagatelles were small pieces that he collected throughout his life and published in 3 sets. Opus 33, the set I played from, contains pieces that date back to 1782. This would mean that some of these pieces were written when Beethoven was 12 years old. Opus 33, number 6, is a pastoral piece intended to be played with a speech-like quality. Throughout the piece, the melody slowly descends through the registers, fading away into the distance. For this presentation, I examined 2 editions, the Breitkopf und Härtel edition and the Albert edition, along with the original manuscript. I found mostly differences regarding articulation and dynamics. For example, while Breitkopf follows the original and does not connect the first and second measures, the Albert edition draws a line through the phrase in both hands. This happens again in measure 3, when the Albert edition draws a line through the 16th note phrase. In the same measure, the Albert edition marked the left-hand chords with staccatos, while the Breitkopf and original leave them as detached eighth notes. It is important to note that the original does not have repeat signs, while both editions do. During the classical era, it was almost expected that the artist would repeat the main theme again. Since live music was the only way to hear compositions, main themes were often repeated for the enjoyment of the audience. At measure 21, Albert indicates a piano, while the original and Breitkopf do not indicate the dynamic. However, if one looks at the sequence in the following measures and the crescendo that culminates in fortissimo, a dynamic Beethoven indicates, one would assume that piano is the appropriate starting dynamic. At measure 30, Beethoven makes sure to indicate a pianissimo. This is reflected in both editions. Beethoven ends the piece with collando pianissimo, which is also reflected in both editions. Overall, I would say that the Breitkopf edition tries to stay as true to the score as possible, while the Albert edition attempts to make the interpretation more accessible to students with the addition of articulation and dynamic markings and fingerings. In the recording, I decided to play the repeats because I wanted to experiment with different approaches to the same theme. I gave the first repeat a timid quality by slightly pressing the soft pedal and playing much of the left hand detached. During the second repeat, I used the pedal to give the melody a warmer tone. For the second set of repeats, I decided to experiment with starting softer and ending warmer, then doing the opposite when I played through again. Beethoven clearly indicates where the loudest and softest parts of the piece are. I made sure to accommodate for this when playing through. When the B section begins at measure 38, I made sure to follow the direction of the 16th note run, creating a long crescendo that climaxes at measure 45. Following the return of the A section, I inserted another long crescendo from measure 63 to measure 70. I made sure to highlight the alto line during the chorale in the last system in order to complement the crescendo and decrescendo to collando pianissimo. Thank you for watching.